This is the CBS Evening News. Susan Spencer reporting. Good evening. On Friday, amid all imaginable pomp and circumstance, George Herbert Walker Bush will become the country's 41st president, taking the oath on the same Bible that George Washington used. That detail will be perfect. Today, throngs of people were up at dawn to make sure that every other detail will be perfect, too. Ron Allen has more.
While most of Washington slept this morning, the west front of the Capitol was alive with activity. The Bicentennial Inaugural Committee staged a dress rehearsal for President-elect George Bush's moment in history Friday, the biggest and most expensive inaugural ever.
To know that the members of the Marine Band have been here doing this for every president since Jefferson's time, it's a rather awesome feeling to be part of that.
And 20-year-old Army Specialist Cliff Owens maintained a stern look as he arrived for the practice swearing in as the 41st President of the United States.
It's like, hey, for these few minutes, I'm President of the United States. You know, everybody's sitting there, the spotlight's on me.
On inaugural day, this stage will be filled with much of the country's political leadership, while 140,000 guests look on. Security will be extremely tight. The event will be broadcast live for several hours. This was the last chance to check for glitches.
Forward! Will be only one horse element.
We're looking at our bands, they're testing their music cues. We're also going to be looking at our parade activities today as well. And so we will conduct a march down Pennsylvania Avenue. We're going to test our logistics. We're going to test our communications.
They rehearsed like this for the last inaugural in 1985, but there was one thing that could not be controlled: the weather. Sub-freezing temperatures forced the inauguration inside.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear.
Because of the weather, things changed. The band couldn't play, the horns were frozen. The recording engineer for the Marine Band has a tape of all the music in a bunker below us. So if the horns can't play, they can play the tape.
The rehearsal ended as dozens of lone representatives marched from the Capitol to the White House reviewing platform, each standing in for the 200 floats and marching bands that will be here when the real inaugural curtain goes up. Ron Allen, CBS News, Washington.
The real president and vice president returned to Washington today to get ready for real. Vice President Bush back from a 3-day fishing trip in the Florida Keys. Mr. Bush said he'll start working on his inaugural speech right away, but not to expect a long-winded address. He said to be aiming for about 15 minutes. And President Reagan returned to the White House after one last weekend at Camp David. The president told reporters that he'll miss the mountain retreat very much. As for the White House, he called it a very nice place to live. Tomorrow is the federal holiday, but today, January 15th, is the actual birthday of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Around the country, it was a day to remember Dr. King's dreams, fulfilled and otherwise. Bruce Hall reports.
In the spirit of Martin Luther King, black gospel singers joined together with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir today on what would have been the 60th birthday of the slain civil rights leader. Civil rights leaders were out today, speaking from the pulpits, calling for a recommitment to the fight against racial discrimination.
Fight for civil rights, fight against civil wrongs. We fight for public accommodations, the right to vote, open housing, the right to have power. That's a civil right. To be robbed, raped, and self-destruct, that's a civil wrong.
It belongs not only to this nation, although there are so many who even today will not claim him, but he belongs to the world, and the world who knows the worth of this man will claim him.
And there were protests. In Beverly Hills, 26 teenagers, none of them black, are taking part in a weekend anti-apartheid sit-in at the South African consulate. Runners arrived in Atlanta, completing their 3-day trip from Selma, Alabama. One of a number of southern cities became a focal point of the civil rights struggle. Meanwhile, in churches across the country, it was a day to remember the dreams of Dr. King.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
And at the King Center in Atlanta, it was time not only to remember the dream, but to remember the man. Bruce Hall, CBS News, Atlanta.
A controversy involving alleged racial discrimination spilled onto the basketball court last night. John Thompson, former Olympic coach and the current coach at Georgetown University, left a game before it started to protest a new policy that he says is unfair. Gary Reeves reports.
Georgetown basketball coach John Thompson got a standing ovation when he walked off the court last night, protesting a rule change he claims will deny hundreds of students a chance at college, most of them poor and black.
What I hope to do is to bring attention to the fact that this is very much discriminatory.
Thompson is bringing a lot of attention to the new rule that will require high school athletes to have a C average and minimum scores on their college entrance exams to get athletic scholarships. It has stirred up an age-old controversy that standardized tests are biased against the poor.
People like in poverty are like worrying about surviving instead of worrying about difficult words.
Many of the people that voted they'd have to go look up the word ghetto. They've not been there.
But the college officials who voted in the new rule say they are trying to restore credibility to a system that has, for decades, used athletes without educating them. They see higher standards as the only solution.
If they want to use their athletic skills and performance as a vehicle or avenue to college, that they have to pay attention to their academic studies.
At the nation's high schools, there is evidence the rising standards will help.
If it goes into place, probably want to work hard to get to qualify for a scholarship to a four-year college.
But many say the rule is not fair to inner-city students who have been denied educational opportunities.
What this particular rule does is to punish poverty. They're saying that these young people should not even have an opportunity to go to college.
Thompson says he'll continue his protest until he is sure the NCAA will change its rule, something that can't happen before next year. But already 2 of the colleges that voted for the tougher standards say they'll switch their vote at that next meeting. Gary Reeves, CBS News, Chicago.
And still ahead on the CBS Evening News, new neighbors for America's second oldest town. And later on Inside Sunday, Martin Luther King's dream, alive and well in a Baltimore hospital.
I really love my fruit and fibre.
That's fruit and fiber.
Fruit and fibre. With exotic tropical fruit. Can't you see? It says right there, F-I-B-R-E, fibre.
But it's still pronounced fiber.
No, mon ami, not within respect. With romantic tropical fruit, we have sweet pineapple, crispy coconut, banana, and high fibre flakes.
Watch my lips. Fiber.
Watch mine. Yum, yum.
Post fruit and fiber cereal with tropical fruit. Tastes so good, you forget the fiber.
One card lets you call from anywhere in your calling area to virtually anywhere in the world and pay the same as if you were calling from your desk. So now you can have the biggest office in town because the town is your office. The MCI card. It is America's business card.
This is my new Buick Skylark. And since it's a Buick, it doesn't surprise me that the Skylark is very stylish. With room for 5, and it's smooth and powerful. What did surprise me, though, is that Buick's little limousine is priced less than a Honda Accord DX. So, I got a little limousine for the price of a little car.
The great American road belongs to Buick.
Where does it hurt?
Here.
For indigestion and gas, nobody does as much as Extra Strength Malox Plus. Its doctor-recommended formula neutralizes more than any leading antacid. Ask your doctor about Extra Strength Malox Plus.
The commander of Soviet forces in Afghanistan flatly declared today that all his troops will be out of the country on schedule, that is, by the middle of next month. But visiting Kabul today, Soviet Foreign Minister Shevardnadze would only say that he hopes the withdrawal date will be met. Here at home, while Congress considers closing scores of military bases in this country, a new base that's costing more than $1 billion opened for business today. And as Christine Negroni reports, this base is transforming its Georgia location.
The USS Tennessee pulled into the Kings Bay Naval Submarine Base this afternoon, the first ballistic missile submarine to arrive at the Navy's new East Coast port. Kings Bay will serve as home to 10 nuclear-powered Trident subs. The welcoming ceremony for 600 government and military guests was closed to the public. But peace activists who demonstrated off base were not forgotten.
Let me say that I respect their views and their opinions, but those of us, particularly those in uniform on this side of the gate, are also dedicated to the cause of peace.
When the Navy chose St. Mary's, Georgia to be Trident's new home port, it did more than create the Navy's largest sub-base. It changed forever the once tranquil South Georgia coastline. New homes, businesses, and the municipal building are under construction to accommodate a population that's grown 50% in 5 years.
There are more people that have moved in than there were here originally.
But growth has brought the nation's second oldest town some contemporary problems.
These are communities where people were used to leaving their houses unlocked. If they went to the store, they didn't lock their car. Now attitudes are starting to change somewhat.
Urban experts are not alone in their caution. The Cumberland National Seashore is across the Cumberland Sound from the sub-base. The park is home to a variety of wildlife, including some endangered species, and it is one of the base's most delicate neighbors.
The sub-base and the channel is probably one of the major changes that is ever occurred at one time, and we just hope that we're on top of it.
Despite all the changes, enthusiasm for the Kings Bay sub-base is nearly unanimous because of the benefits expected from the Navy's expansion here. What's less certain is the depth of the problems that are likely to emerge. Christine Negroni, CBS News, St. Mary's, Georgia.
Susan, can we talk?
Sure, Dad.
You notice anything different about Mom?
She's acting pretty wild for her age.
Well, I don't just mean the roller skates.
And the motor scooter. She even borrowed my new dress. Come on, Dad, what is it?
A balanced diet with the right vitamin nutrition helps people get more out of life. Some are finding Kellogg's Product 19. 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals. Feel good about yourself.
Not the, rubber dress.
Feel like 19 again.
The Mercedes-Benz 560 SL Coupe Roadster. Is it the car you wanted above all others because of its mighty V8 power? Or its blend of quick reflexes and sumptuous comfort? Or its incredible workmanship and finish? Only one thing is certain. You will have the driving experience of your life. Finding out.
When your coffee's rich enough for all working day long, and it tastes your way, it's necessarily Nescafe.
Great coffee blends to taste your way. That's necessarily Nescafe.
The truth is, heart specialists concerned about aspirin irritation recommend Ecotrin over Bayer to help prevent second heart attack. Consult your doctor about the only brand of aspirin that's safety coated to protect your stomach. That's Ecotrin, and that's the truth.
Since its new policy was announced, there have been heated protests against a decision by the outgoing Reagan administration to admit more Soviet refugees and fewer from Southeast Asia. John Blackstone has more.
Among those who work with refugees, the administration's change in quotas is being seen as sending a dangerous message to Southeast Asia. The move will be read, they say, as evidence the United States is weakening its commitment to help the politically oppressed of that region, perhaps prompting more to try to escape Vietnam illegally as boat people.
I think the bottom line is if those cuts are not restored, and restored as soon as possible, there's going to be blood in the water in Southeast Asia.
The change in quotas would reduce the number of Southeast Asian refugees allowed to enter the United States this year by 6,500. But 6,500 more Soviet refugees would be allowed in. The total number of political refugees allowed to enter would remain at 90,000. The solution does not please even those who helped Soviet refugees.
We certainly oppose the decision on the basis of the fact that it has been to the detriment of Southeast Asians and other peoples who seek refugee assistance.
20,000 Soviets, primarily Jews and Armenians, were admitted as refugees last year. More than twice that many are expected to seek refugee status this year, as the Soviet Union makes it easier for the disaffected to leave. By contrast, Vietnam is keeping tight control of those who want to leave that country. The State Department says the quota numbers being given to Soviets would not have been used by Vietnamese refugees anyway.
The Vietnamese in 1988 issued exit permits to only 2,500 persons wishing to immigrate, leaving 17,500 numbers unused.
Still, those numbers have represented hope to thousands of Vietnamese whose families remain divided. Hu Phu Nguyen was a South Vietnamese military officer and then a political prisoner. His wife and 3 children are still trying to leave Vietnam.
If that program happens, we think we will never reunite with family.
In Vietnamese communities, there is worry that the change in refugee quotas means that America is beginning to forget an old commitment to old friends. John Blackstone, CBS News, Los Angeles.
I don't know.
What's missing in these new special request soups from Campbell's?
I don't know.
Want to guess?
I don't know.
About a third of the salt.
That's what Campbell soups are. Good.
I was an IRS agent for 24 years. You can imagine, people weren't very happy to see me coming. I stopped working for them about 5 years ago. Now I'm a member of AARP, and I volunteer to help people do their taxes through the AARP Tax Aid Program. And you know, I hear something I thought I never would.
Boy, am I glad to see you.
AARP, making a difference.
June Allison for Depend.
Enjoying life is so much easier when you have the best bladder control protection. New Depend undergarments has special layers of absorbency that won't bunch or sag, and elastic legs for a better fit. It's simply the best protection you can get. More people trust Depend, and you can too. Get back into life.
Get back into life with Depend.
Oh no, not you again. Mom! Coming!
New Sanaflush Thick Liquid Bowl Cleaner sprays up to disinfect hard-to-reach places. It's thicker to cling longer, clean stains harder than ever. Sanaflush takes the beast out of your bowl.
This is a day for celebrating a man and for recalling a dream. Tonight on Inside Sunday, we look at the state of Martin Luther King's dream, a dream of equality. And we begin in one place where it's being realized, in classrooms where the dream is shared by teachers, by students, and by their parents.
If I feel it's this way. If I'm interested, they'll be more interested.
Yule Watley is so interested, he helps out in gym class. A far cry from what happens in most inner-city schools, where parents haven't been in class since they themselves dropped out. But at the Brennan School in New Haven, heavy parental involvement is the rule, not the exception. It's a crucial part of what's called the Comer method. And since it was put into place at Brennan, rock-bottom test scores have skyrocketed.
The children feel safe, they feel protected, they feel cared about, and as a result feel motivated to perform as the adults around them expect them to perform.
Take your folder back with you quietly.
Dr. Comer says it's just common sense. Make a school a comfortable place, a place that provides kids with role models, values, and support they don't find in the neighborhood and often don't find at home. Give them pride and confidence, and do it early.
Everybody a big hug from the door.
This is the foundation, period. If we lose them here, and when they get to middle school, they will be gone.
Here, parents serve as teachers' aides, assistants, even the school librarian is a parent. In addition, Brennan employs professionals. A team, psychologist, social worker, and speech therapist, tries to keep up with every single student.
He needs our support right now.
Since the Comer plan came into this school, reading scores have risen 75%. Its fifth graders beat classes from 721 other schools in a national scholastic competition.
These are not bad children, and these are bright children, but different in some ways, or underdeveloped in certain ways.
Seeing its success, 50 schools around the country have adopted this approach. The hardest part often is to convince inner-city parents like Linda Gray that there is hope.
Out here in the project, you see so much, and it's nothing but like drugs,
You're trying to teach them positive things, but everywhere around them, all they see is negative stuff, you know.
Yes, there is another world outside the inner city classrooms, a world in which dreams often die a violent death. Dr. King preached nonviolence, but more than 20 years after his own violent death, blacks are killing one another in alarming numbers. Jacqueline Adams reports.
Yaman Robinson walks down the street alone, avoiding trouble, which in New Orleans is hard to do if you're 15 years old, poor, and black. Black-on-black crime is overwhelming there, as it is nationwide. The FBI says blacks are 9 times more likely to kill another black than a white.
Last year, around October, a classmate of mine got killed. Police arrived and they said they pronounced him dead right there. He was hit right in the hook, I believe with .357.
In December alone, New Orleans police reported a 31% increase in the murder rate. And in the first 15 days of this year, there have been 15 murders. 13 of the victims were black.
Some sociologists say the combination of unemployment, poverty, poor schools, and broken families robs young black men of hope, and that makes them more prone to violence.
They have no perception that they have a future in our society, that one day they're going to go out, get a job, have a house, have a car, and basically live a reasonably happy life.
Add to that the easy access to crack and the easy money from selling it.
We have made the drug business readily available for young people, and of course, it pays a higher wage than McDonald's. And so, poor people are poor, but they're not stupid.
Yaman is trying to be smart in another way. He's joined a program that brought him together with a successful dentist who himself was a child of the ghetto. Now, Yaman's learning values, not violence.
This is a dark area underneath that x-ray here. What do you think that is,
I think that's an abscess.
Exactly.
So far, the program, sponsored by the New Orleans Urban League, has placed about 500 youngsters with neighborhood businessmen, taking them off the streets, urging them to stay in school, giving the boys and their families some small sense of pride.
They are aware of the future. It's just that they need someone to keep telling them that the future is not hopeless, it's bright.
For Yaman, that someone is Dr. Mitchell Pierce.
I give Yaman another alternative. When Yaman is here learning, okay, he cannot be somewhere else hooking up a drug deal.
Just like they say, sooner or later you're going to be dead or in jail. And they're not talking about me.
Thank you, man.
But Yaman may be the exception. The drug trade is flourishing. Government funds for programs like New Orleans are drying up. And almost no one thinks a whole generation of black men can be saved from violence one at a time. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New Orleans.
Dr. King said life's most persistent question is, what are you doing for others? In a moment, the story of a man who has spent his entire life answering that question when Inside Sunday continues.
For Post Natural Brand Flakes, Lena Horne on getting the best out of life.
Taking care of my voice, body, and taste buds is what keeps the brass in this horn.
Reach for the best tasting high fiber bran flake. Post Bran Flakes at their best.
It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
I don't ask for much, do I? Little gas, little oil, an occasional tune-up. I mean, look at me. My plugs don't have that old spark. I'm hard to start. I hesitate. I hate that. Well, I've got the answer. Precision Tune. They'll diagnose my problem, tune me up, and guarantee it. So take me to Precision Tune. Whew. We better get going.
Precision Tune. We do more than fix your car. We guarantee it.
Gas pain, bloating. Gas-X has the strongest, fastest relief ingredient. Painful gas is like beer bubbles. Add the leading antacid. Add Gas-X. Only Gas-X gets rid of the gas. The strongest, fastest reliever for gas pain and bloating. Gas-X.
Martin Luther King urged young blacks to, in his words, be the best of whatever you are. Linda Tyra now has the inspiring story of a man who brought those words to life.
Oh, how's old Putt-Putt doing today? Okay?
Dr. Benjamin Carson has had a phenomenal rise in one of the most demanding fields of medicine. At 37, he is head of pediatric neurosurgery at prestigious Johns Hopkins in Baltimore.
I have a great deal of faith in God, and I always ask for wisdom, and I believe he gives it to me.
Carson was among the lead team of surgeons who successfully separated West German Siamese twins who were joined at the head, a case that won international attention. What you wouldn't know about Dr. Carson is his past. 20 years ago, he pulled himself out of Detroit's inner city, out of a broken home in which his mother struggled to make ends meet.
She used to always say that anything that anybody else can do, you can do better.
Carson followed his mother's advice, but what he calls his red-hot temper got in the way when he was 14 in an incident that would change his life.
I went after a young fellow who had offended me with a knife and tried to stab him in the abdomen, and he had on a very large metal belt buckle which broke the blade. And I went home and I sat in a bathtub and I just prayed for many hours that day that God would take that temper away from me.
You control your own destiny, and anybody who always has a lot of excuses is not going to be successful. I can guarantee you that.
Carson spreads that message religiously. He makes a point of speaking to students from all walks of life at least once a week.
Now, the key to success in life, I think, is to think big.
Ben competes with anyone on any level without regard for any consideration except his own talent. And I see him as a real future leader in the field of neurosurgery and in the field of American medicine.
Ask any of his young patients or their families, and they'll tell you what cannot be written on any medical degree.
I think he's nice, very nice. Gentle and kindness.
I don't think that I'm the power behind it all, to tell you the truth. I just see myself as an instrument.
For Benjamin Carson, it's been a long journey from the mean streets of Detroit, a journey that stands as testimony to his own determination and faith. Linda Tyra, CBS News, Baltimore.
Dr. Carson says his success lies in viewing life's obstacles not as barriers, but as hurdles that make him stronger every time he goes over one. That's our news. I'm Susan Spencer. Good night, and I'll see you next week.
This is CBS.
Coming up on Eyewitness News, a nation celebrates the birthday and life of one of the most renowned civil rights leaders of all times. Tennessee farmers are reeling from the effects of the weather and the bureaucracy in Washington. And some say having a nuclear warship named the USS Tennessee is nothing to brag about. Those stories and a youth directory for Nashville teens. Next on Eyewitness News.
40 calories in Sunbeam Light. You'll love it when you try it. 40 calories per slice. Keep yourself slim with Sunbeam Light. Diet bread that tastes good. If you don't like to diet, but you want to feel right, you'll love the taste of Sunbeam Light. 40 calories taste so good.
New Sunbeam Light bread in wheat or white.
Sunbeam Light. Yeah.
Wow, good grief! I'm just your bedroom scales, not a forklift. Look, Tommy, ever heard of Purity Half Plus milk? Come on, Blimbo. Half Plus has only 1.5% fat, plus vitamins, plus calcium, plus some good stuff for your digestion. Now get off me and get Purity Half Plus.
New Purity Half Plus. Less because you want it, more because you need it.
It'll sure take a load off my mind.